Hey, it's Nora. Welcome back to Sleepy Bull. Come sit with me for a bit. I was looking at some retail data this morning, and I think you'll find this as fascinating as I do. You know, there was a time, not that long ago, when grabbing a $6 iced coffee or a $16 salad for lunch felt like a normal, harmless little treat. We called it taking care of ourselves. But lately, I'm noticing a massive, quiet shift. Not just in the quarterly earnings reports, but in actual human behavior. People are quietly walking past those familiar green awnings. The drive-through lines are gone. And it's not because we all suddenly learned how to roast our own beans or became financial minimalists overnight. Something much deeper has broken in the economy of everyday luxury. Actually, let me put it this way, the illusion has cracked. Think about the last time you walked into one of these premium fast casual places. You look up at the menu board, and suddenly, a basic chicken sandwich is $19. You pay, you sit at a wobbly table, and you realize, this isn't a luxury experience anymore. Economists call this the premium mediocre trap. Brands that built their entire empire on making you feel slightly wealthy for 15 minutes are suddenly plunging in sales. Starbucks, Nike, high-end burger joints, they are all reporting staggering drops in foot traffic. Why? Because the spell is broken. When inflation pushes the price of mediocrity into the realm of actual luxury, consumers don't just complain. They quietly, permanently walk away. And that silent walk away is causing a multi-billion-dollar panic. To really understand this, we have to look at how these empires were built in the first place. Back in the early 2000s, we saw the rise of what I call accessible indulgence. A classic example is the Frappuccino. It wasn't just a drink, it was a status symbol you could hold in your hand. For $5, you felt like you were part of an exclusive club. The margins on these products were astronomically high. We are talking about water, ice, a splash of milk, and sugar syrup, marked up by roughly 400%. And we happily paid for it, because the real product wasn't the coffee. The real product was the feeling. The plush chairs, the jazz music, the smell of roasted beans. It was the third place between work and home. But then, the corporate optimization machine kicked in. They realized that plush chairs encourage people to stay too long. So, they replaced them with uncomfortable wooden stools. They realized that brewing coffee slowly takes time, so they installed massive automated machines that block your view of the barista. The jazz music was drowned out by the chaotic beeping of mobile order printers. Slowly, methodically, every single element that made the experience feel premium was stripped away in the name of efficiency. I know, more corporate numbers, but stay with me on this one. When you optimize a luxury experience for extreme speed and volume, it ceases to be a luxury. It just becomes an expensive vending machine. And nobody wants to pay a huge premium for a vending machine. This brings us to the tipping point, the price hikes of the post-pandemic era. Supply chain issues and inflation provided the perfect cover story for corporations to test just how much we were truly willing to pay. We saw menu prices go up by 20–30%, sometimes 40% in less than 3 years. At first, we absorbed it. We grumbled, but we swiped our cards. This is what economists call price inelasticity of demand, the idea that if we love something enough, we will keep buying it even if it hurts. But the executives sitting in their glass towers miscalculated. They assumed our loyalty to the brand was unlimited. They forgot that we weren't paying for the logo. We were paying for the value proposition. And when the price detached from the value entirely, the rubber band snapped. And the snap was completely silent. That's the scariest part for these companies. There were no massive protests in the streets. There were no organized boycotts. People just stopped going. I was reading a fascinating report on consumer behavior last week. It showed that when middle-class consumers feel squeezed, they don't lower their standards. They simply curate their spending. Let me rephrase that. Instead of buying a mediocre $7 latte every single day, they will make coffee at home for 5 days, and then spend $8 at a genuine, high-quality local roaster on the weekend. The middle tier, the expensive but deeply average brands, gets entirely hollowed out. It is a mass consumer awakening. We woke up, looked at the paper cup in our hands, and thought, I can do better than this. Let's talk about the psychological shift happening here. It's not just about saving money. It's about dignity. When an app asks you to tip 20% for a pre-packaged muffin that you grabbed yourself, it feels transactional and cold. It feels like you are being squeezed. And human beings resent being treated strictly as revenue extraction units. Nike is facing this exact same quiet rebellion. For years, they manufactured fake scarcity. They relied on apps, lotteries, and hype drops to sell shoes that were, realistically, just pieces of rubber and foam mass-produced overseas. But hype has an expiration date. Once consumers realized the game was rigged to just artificially inflate prices, the magic faded. The shoes sitting on the shelves are no longer seen as status symbols. They are just expensive shoes. So, what happens next? Are these massive empires going to collapse overnight? Probably not. They have billions in cash reserves. But we are witnessing the end of an era. The era of premium mediocre is dying. The brands that survive the next decade will be the ones that actually respect the consumer intelligence. They cannot rely on a 20-year-old logo to justify a 50% markup anymore. If you want to charge luxury prices, you have to provide a truly luxurious, human experience. You need real ingredients, reasonable comfort, and actual hospitality. The pendulum is swinging back from extreme automation and profit maximization, back toward artisanship and true value. Because the one thing you can never artificially manufacture is trust. It honestly makes me wonder about our own habits. How many things do we buy on autopilot simply because it's what we have always done? How many subscriptions are quietly draining our accounts, providing a fraction of the value they used to? This silent rebellion against everyday luxury isn't a sign of a failing economy. I actually see it as a sign of a maturing consumer base. We are waking up. We are demanding better. And we are voting with our ultimate weapon, our absence. The empty drive-thrus aren't a tragedy. They are a loud, clear message to Wall Street. You push too far, you strip away too much value, and eventually, the spell wears off. That's all from Sleepy Bull tonight. I hope this gave you something interesting to chew on. Go drink some water, close your eyes, and remember, understanding money isn't about getting rich. It's about not being manipulated. It's about not being afraid. Have a peaceful night, and I'll see you next time.